Bonjour tout le monde! Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel guys. I hope you're doing amazing. I'm happy to see you today for another video. For this week's video, we're going to talk about pronunciation. So we're going to see all the sounds of the French alphabet. How do we pronounce some vowels? How do we pronounce the sound? So if you're struggling a little bit on the French pronunciation, this video is for you. La prononciation des sons. The pronunciation of sound. First part, objectif, meaning goals. Découvrir les sons principaux du français. To discover the main sounds of the French language. Améliorer la prononciation et la compréhension orale. To improve on the pronunciation and the oral understanding. Why? Because of course everything is linked and related. So if you understand how the phrases are built and what the sounds are, how do we conduct the phrases, how do we pronounce everything together, you're also going to be able to read it and be more comfortable when it comes to your personal reading skills, but also to understand what you hear because you're going to hear the links, you're going to hear the pronunciation of sounds, so it's going to be easier for you to understand the full meaning of the phrases. Then last one, s'entraîner avec des exemples simples. To practice with simple examples. Okay, let's just start right now. First, we have what we call les voyelles orales, meaning the oral vowels. We have a couple. Some of them are pretty similar to the sound that we have in English. Some of them are not. Here, because it's on the oral, you can, of course, and I would suggest you to do so, try to repeat after me and try to compare the sound that you're making with the sound that I'm making. Okay, first vowel, we have the letter A, which is the letter A, A. But the sound is pretty similar as the name of the letter. So the name of the letter is A and the sound is A. So for example, every time you have the letter A, you're going to pronounce it like a A. Papa, that means daddy. Table, table. So careful. A, papa, table. Then we have the E sound. E. When it's the E sound, the letter is the E with the high accent, meaning your accent goes up, like a plane who's taking off. If it goes up, it's the high accent. If it's a high accent, it's pronounced E. For example, summer. Été. A baby. Bébé. So it's pretty high. You put your mouth like you're smiling. E. Été. Bébé. That's the high accent. Then we have the low accent. When it comes to the phonetics, when we write like a 3, but on the other way. The sound here is a low accent. So here, instead of having a plane who's taking off, we have a plane who's landing. So you see that the accent goes down. Here, we don't say e, we drop the mouth. Same movement as the plane is. The plane is going back on earth, so is our mouth. Mère. So you're dropping your mouth because the accent goes down. Mère. That's mother. Fête. That's party. Here, those two are a little bit different because when you have the low accent, that means it's going down, it's a long one. Mère. The one with the hat on is just a short one. Fête. But it's the same accent. So you see the difference between été, bébé, mère, fête. Then the I. I is I in French. Same sound as the name of the letter. If you want to say a bed, lit. Friend, ami. You have the I, you pronounce I. Then O. O, name of the letter, same sound. Mot. Mot means a word. Photo. You have the O, you pronounce it like a O. Then we have the letter U. The letter U might be a little tricky, I know. The letter U makes the sound U. U. So it's like you're putting your lips like a circle, but you put your tongue lower. U. And you say, for example, tu. Tu, that means you. Or lune, that means moon. Lune. And then you have the sound oo. For the sound oo, For the phonetics, we write a Y, but the sound is oo. It's the last one, and if you want to make the sound oo, it needs to be those two letters O and U together. So O and U makes the sound oo. And here, to say a wheel, I'm going to say roue. It's more rounded than the one before. The one before, I'm putting my lips rounded, but I'm putting my tongue a little bit down, meaning I'm pitching a little bit my lips. Here, it's the same movement as the O. Ooh. That means a wheel, or crazy, fou. Ooh. Astuce. So, a little help. For the A, really open your mouth. Do not be scared to open it up. Ah. It's not it's ah. And for the U. Careful. U, ooh. U, ooh. We're going to practice on that, okay? But let's just read them together to make sure this is fine. Papa, table. Été, bébé. Going up, I'm smiling. Et. Mère, fête. Going down. Lit, ami. Mot, photo. Tu, lune. Roue, fou. Good. These are the oral vowels, les voyelles orales. Now we have what we call the nasal vowels, les voyelles nasales. The A and the N makes the same sound as the E and the N, which is the sound for those two. So if you want to say without, sans, sans. If you want to say a child or a kid, enfant. Same sound, enfant. Then the O and the N together creates another sound, Example, if you want to say good, bon. A house, maison. Sound, same, rounded mouth. Then, IN and IM makes the sound Pretty nasal, you can pinch your nose. For example, morning, matin. Simple, simple. It's very nasal. And then the last one, the U and the N. Pretty similar as the one before, it's just less nasal and maybe a little deeper. Example, Monday, lundi. Lundi. Here, because it's a nasal one, the air comes out from the nose. Let's read them together. Sans, enfant, en sound. Bon, maison, sound. Matin, simple, un sound. Lundi, un sound. Always try to practice as much as you can. Even if you feel you're pushing too hard, it's never too much. So you do So you can try to practice as much as you can. Try to read every French word that you can see. Here, we started already, just a little recap. For the E, we have the high accent, which is the one who goes up, the plane who's taking off. That means I'm smiling. Eh. I have the long one. That means it's landing. So is my mouth. Eh. So here we have the difference. Going up. Café. Eh sound. For the second one, you see that here my ending is ER. After café, I have another word. ER. ER will always have the same sound as the high accent. So I'm going to pronounce the same way for the E with my high accent and for the ER. Café, parler. ER, same sound as the high accent. Et. And then the low one. Frère, brother. Frère. Très, very. So here you see the difference. Café, parler, frère, très. Drop your mouth, so as the accent. Et, eh. Now this one, that is the difference between u, ou. U, ou. Here, when you want to say the letter U, You put your lips very close to each other. Ooh, it's almost like you're closing your mouth. Ooh, it's a tiny little O pinch. Ooh. For example, tu, rue. For the OU, you open it up and you make a bigger circle. Fou, jour. So here, for example, if I want to say the difference between you and between everything, you is tu. Everything is tout. Tu, tout. And if I say it pretty shortly, tu, tout. Tu, tout. So there's one that's more rounded. Try to practice on this one. Tu, tout. Then we have the hard consonant. Of course, we have some sounds in French that may be a little tricky when it comes to vowels, but we have a lot of different consonants. I would say maybe 3 that may be a little more complicated. First one, of course, if you're in your French learning journey, you may or not struggle with the R. The R is completely different from the R sound that we have in English. In English, it's all about the tongue. You put your tongue back in your mouth. R, R. Here, that's absolutely not the case. You're not using your tongue at all. It's just a matter of how your throat can vibrate. So you're pushing from the throat. That has nothing to do with the upper mouth part. Here, I'm trying to make it rough. So he needs to shake. So you put your hand on your throat and you either you pretend to be a tiger or a kitty cat that's angry, or if you struggle because you just keep doing that because it's a habit, I would suggest you a little thing. If you're brushing your teeth tonight or this morning, if you're doing it, watching this video before doing it, take some water, keep some water in your throat, head backwards, and this is how you're gonna pronounce the R sound. Everything comes from the throat. So it needs to shake. Rue. Rue. It's a rough sound. Rue. That means street. If you want to say Paris with a French accent, don't say Paris. 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 From the throat. Rue Paris. Then for the next one, we're going to say the J. J is J. J. And it's same thing. You put those your teeth together and it needs to vibrate. Jour, that's a day. Manger, that's to eat. And the CH, sh, which is pretty similar to the j, but j, it's vibrating. Sh is smooth. Chat, a cat. Chocolat. One more time. Rue, Paris. Jour, manger. Chat, chocolat. So careful, the R is not rolled like rrr or rrr. It's really from the throat. It's a really rough sound. Rrr. Try to practice as much. And we have les lettres muettes. The muted sound, the muted letter. Lettres finales, souvent non prononcées. That means the final letters at the end of a word that tends to be muted. The big rule would be if you have a word that finishes with a consonant that is not an R, you tend to avoid it. We have some exception. The L you're going to pronounce. F you tend to pronounce. But for the main part, if the word finishes with an R if the word finishes with a consonant that is not an R, you tend to mute it. Example, petit, I mean small. Petit. Don't pronounce the T. Petit. It's not an R. Grand. Grand. That means big. Don't pronounce the D. It's not an R. Parler. Here, remember, ER makes the same sound as the high accent. Parler. So I'm not pronouncing my R on its own because E plus R together creates the A sound. But we have some exception. Avec. Sac. Chef. Here we're going to pronounce. So the main rule would be if it's a R, if it's a C, if it's a L, if it's a F, you pronounce. For the other consonant, it's always mute. And now we have the main thing when we think about the French pronunciation is les liaisons, the links. As you may know, or not yet, in French, we love to connect all of our words together. because it's rhythmic, it's more beautiful when it comes to like the ears. It sounds like a little music. So it's way better than having just like short little word here and there. How do we do those links? Pretty easy. When you have, for example, two words, you need to have two words to make a link. You're gonna take the last letter of the first one and the first letter of the second. When you look at your second word, it needs to start with either a vowel or a H. The H is always mute, so it's like there was no consonant. You have either a H or a vowel. If it's the case, you're gonna take the consonant that is just ahead, meaning the last letter of the previous word, and you're gonna link them together. Look at the example. Les amis, the friends. Ami starts with the vowel. It's the vowel A. It's a vowel, so it works. I'm gonna take my S, that is the last letter of the word that's before, I'm gonna link it. So I'm gonna pronounce my word. My word L-E-S is pronounced les. So I'm gonna say les because it's my word. But then I'm gonna repronounce over it the S to link with my second word. Les amis. Les amis. So now when I say it, les amis, it seems like it's just one word and it's super smooth. And you can do that every time that you have the first word finishing with a consonant and the second one starting with a vowel. Let's see other examples. So first one, les amis. Second one, des enfants. Third one is with the N this time, but it's still a consonant. Un ami. Les amis, des enfants, un ami. And now it's super smooth. So you pronounce your word, the first one, the way it's supposed to be, and then you repronounce the last consonant with the following. Les amis, des enfants, un ami. And now you're mastering the French liaison. And last thing, rythme et intonation, rhythm and intonation. Le français est régulier et fluide. It's regular and fluid. That means it just goes. Pretty simple. Once you understand the pattern, it's always the same. L'accent est souvent mis à la fin du groupe de mots. We tend to put a little emphasis at the end of the word. Je m'appelle Marie. Je m'appelle Marie. We tend to put some accent here and there to make it like rhythm and more beautiful ears. And that's all for today. You know the sound of French, which are sometimes the more complicated part. But if you know and if you got this video, it's going to be so easy and so helpful for you to be able to hear and to read out loud. Now I wrote you a little exercise where I wrote you a list of words in the middle. What I would like you to do is to classify those words depending on their sound. So we have the first sound that is a, e, I, O, U, oo. And you classify all those words in their right column. And that's for today's video. I hope you guys liked it, that it helped you a little bit on the French pronunciation. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. If you want to even, for example, do some vocals, try to practice on your French pronunciation and sound, and send a vocal with some words that you're reading on our Instagram page. We'll be happy to help you. If you have any questions, you can do it in the comment section or text us on Instagram. And I'm wishing you all a good end of your week, and I'm seeing you next week for another video. Salut!